Does a blade curve the golf ball less than a super game improvement iron? Or does a super game improvement iron hit the ball higher than a blade? This is a back to front video where normally I do the introduction, understand what I'm going to do, put the camera off, hit a load of shots, then go to the PC with the camera back on again and show you my results. Now, as you can see, 123 shots later, I have some information to show you. And the information is to show you from a blade, an MP20, this is a 6-iron because this is a 30-degree lofted 6-iron, all the way to a super game improvement iron hybrid in the 11 hybrids, 31 degrees. So there's only 1 degree loft difference between the blade and this one. And in between, I have got the JPX 923 hot metal high launch, because it's 31 degrees. So I've got 31, 31 and 30 degrees. The reason why I've kept the lofts exactly the same is, guys, because as soon as you have different lofts, and bear in mind, 7-irons come in from 34 degrees all the way to sometimes 27, those two golf clubs are massively different. Ever wondered why your sand wedge, if you deliver a face closed or open to a path, it doesn't curve that much. The golf ball will go obviously offline because the face is either open or closed, but it doesn't curve. You do the same thing with your driver and the ball is curving off into next week because loft matters, and something called D-plane, of which I won't bore you with, effectively means as soon as you reduce the loft and for the same amount of face open or closed to a path, it gives it more curvature. So that's why I have opted to do this test as honestly as I possibly can do with very similar within 1 degree lofted irons or hybrids as it goes. Let's go to the PC now. Out of 123 shots, I have captured 18 different, well, I've dumped the other 105, shots, because I've made sure that I've kept strike within a certain amount. What I mean by strike within a certain amount, obviously I've got quad on the deck here, and quad will measure everything to the nth of a degree, so I can keep things as scientific as a human possibly can. And I am human, as obviously I've had to dump 105 shots of the 123 because I am human. But I've kept strike limited to no more than 5 to 6 millimeters away from the radius of the middle, so we can keep everything, well, hopefully every single thing as close as we can do, because as soon as you move away from middle, again, especially as you start making or taking CG away from the face, you will start getting curvature differently to others. So keep strike within reason very small so we can glean certain information which is right. Across all of these irons, between blade and super game improvement iron hybrid heads, which again you're not going to get any more forgiving than an iron hybrid head. Let's go to the PC now. Let's go crunch the numbers to see, out of the 123 shots, does a blade work the golf ball more than a super game improvement iron? And do these super game improvement irons naturally hit the golf ball higher than the blade? So let's go see how the blade got on against the game improvement, against super game improvement, to see if there's any difference in workability between all these very similar lofted, but within 1 degree lofted heads. And so you've got different technologies and stuff like that. They're all designed as the heads get bigger to help with getting the golf ball as high as it can do peak height wise, and obviously hopefully descending as steeply as possible. Right, so let's go first of all to the 11 hybrid. Now this 11 hybrid is a 7-iron length golf club. It is just with a hybrid head, 31 degree. It looks a bit weird at the golf ball. It looks very big considering this is an iron length, but that's the whole point of them. It's the advantage of having a hybrid head, roll and bulge on the face, all that lot over a straight faced iron. So 91 miles an hour, again we're talking about the same lot of loft, 25 degrees, a 2 mil low, 0 mil hill within the 5 millimeters, 5-6 millimeters I'm going to give myself as a radius around the face to try and keep everything as like for like possible. It's going 39 yards in the air and 50 degrees descent angle. If you go straight over to the hot metal high launch, again, loft is 25 degrees, 25.8 rather than 25.1. Let's not get overly carried around about 0.7 of a degree, 2 mil high, 0 mil toe it is within that 5 mil, and it's 38 yards in the air and 49.4 degrees. So there's a slight difference between them. I mean, obviously the hybrid has got a lower further back CG, and it will want to get the golf ball up in the air higher, as opposed to the blade. The next one, 36 yards in the air and 47.5 degrees descent angle. It's 4 mil heel, 0 mil low, again, good strike, and everything else within 0.7 degree of loft of my standard normal shot. That is normal. That is a good understanding of the differences between all three. So yes, on a standard normal hit, without me artificially doing anything else, a hybrid head will get the golf ball going up to peak height higher than a blade. And then obviously everything in between, be it game improvement, be it player's distance, be it player's cavity, will all have a variation in between. So again, make your buying decisions based on what you require. If we then go to the height one, so as in like the full-on height, within reason full-on height, of the three, we've done it with the hybrid, with the semi-game improvement iron, and then also the blade. Now the blade, I'll do the blade one first, even though it's third on the list. I'm really surprised of just how well this did. It's going 43 yards in the air and 51.4 degrees descent angle. This is effectively maxed out. I can't do anything else with this. I'll hit 1 degree up on it. This is everything I can do to get that golf ball up at that kind of height. The other two, let's go by the hybrid first with the 43 yards in the air, exactly the same. But I could quite easily get this golf ball up higher. What I wanted to do is I wanted to test to see what I could do with the blade, maxed out, and then how easy it would be for me to hit the hybrid and the HL, similar distance in height. 43 yards in the air, the other one was 44. The reason why the HL is slightly higher is because I delivered more loft with the HL. If I'd have delivered the same loft with the hybrid, it'd gone even higher. And so, yeah, within reason, I would say if I was to push them both, there might be a small difference between the two. The hybrid will go a fraction higher, but it's very, very small, really. And the fact they're just going up, this is easy for me. The 44 yards in the air, the 43, 44 is easy with the hybrid and the HL. Much, much harder with the blade. I am really having to max everything out to try and maximize peak height. So in a gaming environment, yes, the hybrid and the game improvement iron will hit the golf ball high. No different to the standard heights. It is normal. The lower, further back center of gravity wins over a blade. Now, workability side of things. The workability the other way. So we've just been doing vertically. Now we're going to go the other way. We're going to go horizontally, left to right, right to left. Right, let's have a look at, first of all, this is a slight draw on the 11. So what I've done this test in, I've tried to keep the face angle. Don't worry about the path. What it is face to path orientation. So how much the face is closed or open to a path that's going to give curvature. Again, I've got to keep strike within a very small amount, because if not, if you start hitting off the toe, off the heel, low and high by a massive amount, that's going to create curvature anyway. Completely skews the data. So the 11 hybrid iron hybrid, you know what I mean, it's a slight draw, so face is 2 degrees closed and it's a 2 mil heel, 0 mil low. Perfectly good. Tilt axis of a golf ball, let's have that top right hand corner of that tilt axis of golf ball, 5.6 degrees. That represents your curvature. Your axis of where the ball is curving will give you a curve. If you then flip that over to the high launch, 2.7 degrees closed rather than 2.1. So again, anything within a degree is fine. And then the strike is 5 mil low, 5 mil toe. So just within the 5 millimeters, 5-6 millimeters I'm giving myself as human leeway. But we have got a tilt axis again of 5.6 degrees. So you could argue the fact that, yeah, you've got a face which is slightly more closed on the HL than the high, but then the strike is a little bit. He's basically within getting to a robot situation. They are so close together. There is no statistical difference. They're close enough together that they'll be blurring in between. There is no difference. They still want to curve the golf ball the same. If we then go to a blade, my blade, and the face is now 2 degrees closed, and again strike is within 2 mil of middle, and it's 6.4 degrees. Now that would suggest that potentially the blade would curve the golf ball more if the other ones were 2.1 and this one is 2, and the first one was 2 mil heel, 0 mil low, like no different to this blade is 2 mil heel, 0 mil low, and the face is 0.1 of a degree less, yet it's still tilting 0.8 of a degree more. One could critique, right? Bearing in mind, you've got other things on there. You've got lie angle differences between them and all different things like that that would affect how the golf ball... There's not a big enough difference in curvature here to show straight away, wow, yeah, the blade is curving more than a game improvement iron. Especially this is between the 11 hybrid, which is like super one way, and then you've got the blade, which is super the other. If we now go to mega draw, the heavy draw, well, first of all, we go 8.7 degrees closed to a path, and strike, yeah, 3 mil low, 2 mil toe, so within 5-6 millimeters of the middle, and it's curving the golf ball at 25 degrees. So now we're going to see if there's any difference between them when we start really mega curving them. This is where we'll start seeing any differences within the technology, how it does or does not curve a golf ball, or is it just physics? If you then go to 9.1 degrees for the HL, and it's 20.5, so hang on a minute, I would say, oh, let's have a look. I would say no, because the lie angle of the HL is slightly more toe down. That would then make the loft look a little bit further right, which would then negate the 9.1 closed. You have to be open and honest and understand 3D delivery that would affect curvature. But if you take the lie angle into account with a face which is fractionally more closed, but the ball is not curving as much because of the lie angle, that is the reason why. And so effectively they're curving the same. If we then go to a blade, 9.5 closed, so that's the maximum of the lot, yes, maximum of all the other two, so all of three. And strike's still good, 2 mil toe, 1 mil low, and the golf ball is going 27.3 degrees tilt axis. It's the one that's curving the most, but is also the one that's got the best lie, is also the one that's got the most closed face. So again, we are talking the difference between 27 and 25. It is so close, bearing in mind the hybrid is 8.7 closed and the blade is 9.5 closed. That's nearly a degree difference. We are talking small amounts. And again, we are talking very, very small amounts on the tilt axis of the golf ball. Again, within reason, like for like, exactly the same. And there's going to be slightly differences between 19.2 and 18.3 degrees of loft. There's 0.9 of a degree. We are talking very, very small amounts, to a point of where there is no difference in slight draw, no difference in heavy draw between the blade and super game improvement between all of them. There's a difference in vertical height, yes, because the centre of gravity placement is lower, but it seems at the moment, with draw at least, there is no detectable difference, as in statistical sort of like pops out into your straight away like a light bulb going off. There is no difference between both of those golf clubs in curvature. Right, let's go to the Sligh Fade 11 hybrid again. We're going to go 3.4 degrees open, and it's wants to curve at 5.4 degrees to the right with a 2 mil low, 3 mil toe, again within the 5 mil radius, but it's wanting to curve at 5.4 degrees tilt axis. If you then go to the HL, again good strike, 3 mil toe, 0 mil low, 2.3 open to a path, and it's now curving at only 5.4. So you'd say, one, that the hybrid was 0.9 degree more open, and so it will curve the golf ball more, and the fact that the within 2 millimeters of low strike, so there's no real gear effect when it comes to the strike. That's why I try to keep strike as close to middle as I possibly can do, because as soon as you start moving around the face slightly, you'll have an impact or an influence on what that tilt axis wants to be, or curvature as you see it. So again, not really any difference whatsoever. You wouldn't see there's something that jumps out straight away. There's no correlation between it. As soon as you open the face a bit more, it wants to curve a bit more. If you then go to the next one, which is the blade, 2.3 open, you've got, it's such a small amount, and there's a tilt axis of 4.8, so 0.4 of a degree more than the HL. 0.4 is nothing in flight. You wouldn't even see that. It's such a, well, it's not even a curve. And 6 mil low, 3 mil toe, so just just on the 6mm boundary. 6mm low, anytime you gravitate low on the face, it will want to add a touch of cut or fade bias to the tilt axis. So even with the faces open by exactly the same amount of the high launch, and it's now 0.4 of a degree more, that's because of the strike. So again, in a slight fade, no difference whatsoever between all of them. There's no statistical jumps out in your face. There's a big difference between them. Right, let's go fade. Mega fade, so slice, effectively. Now, harder to do. We've got one here for the 11 hybrid. Heavy fade, I've called it. That's a slice. 8.5 degrees open. And strike is 3mm toe, 0mm high, so it's a good strike. And tilt axis is 11.3 degrees. If we then go to the HL, and strike is within 5mm, it's 5mm high, but it's within 5mm. 9.4 degrees open. Yes, so it added now by nearly a whole degree of face open. That is a lot of tilt axis, Baron, when we're talking now. When you're delivering a face, it's massive. It may seem only 1 degree, but the difference between, in delivery, 8.5 degrees and 9.5 degrees compared to the difference between 0 and 1 is a lot easier to deliver 1 degree off of 0. But for me to deliver 9.5 and 8.5 is a feeling of a big difference. It's a lot. So, and that is tilting the golf ball by a fraction more. So 3 degrees more. So there is a touch more curvature, but a micro amount. I mean, it's tiny. Of the HL, what's that? 3 is 1/5, if that, 1/5 of the difference. Yeah, it's small. What we got with the blade? So the blade is 9.4 again, so exactly the same as the HL. We've got a 4mm low, 1mm toe. Right, so again, as soon as you deviate low on the face, it will want to try and fade it some more. And we are now at 16.4, so we've added a little bit more of tilt axis for the same amount of face open. That is because of the strike, because I'm 4mm low rather than 5mm high. So there's 9mm of vertical difference between them. You have to take that into account. And so there is where the 16 degrees, or 1.7 degrees extra tilt axis is coming from. It's coming from the vertical strike difference. That is it. But again, that is not something which is now statistically kind of jumping out in your face and saying, look how much this is more. We're not seeing 50%. We're not seeing double the amount of curvature. We are seeing such micro amounts. Well, that micro amounts very easily could be the difference, me being a human, with displaying different slight lie angles here and there. And again, we're talking about, I'm not a robot, but I'm doing this in as best as I can do in a human situation, because we humans play golf. Robots don't play golf, we do. And so we have all these slight differences of delivery. Even though I'm trying to keep delivery as close to perfect as I possibly can do, I also realise that I'm a human, and there's always going to be tiny, tiny little bits of delivery which are different between one and the other. But again, we're trying to pick out big glaring obvious differences between them, of which there isn't. So to conclude, honestly, the only difference we've got between the blade and the game improvement irons and super game improvements and everything else in between is peak height. On normal shots, if you were to hit a normal shot, same loft, don't get carried away with testing different lofts. They've got to be same loft when it comes to doing this kind of test. Or if you're going to change lofts, because not all 7 irons are equal, just understand that there are obviously implications for having loft differences within testing. But loft for loft, there is no difference when it comes to left-right curvature for workability that I have found. Again, I've got the information, I've shown the information, exactly what I am doing. It is not me just saying it, I am showing you data. Now, of course, I've showed you on here, you can critique that, and then by all means, pop in the comments the bits and pieces that I have not spoken about, I've missed, possibly. But bear in mind, obviously, this video, I don't want to be 45 minutes long critiquing the ins and outs of what we're trying to do is we're trying to see if there is a noticeable difference between a blade and a game improvement iron when it comes to workability, being able to curve the golf ball in the air, its degree of curvature, the amount of curvature. There is none from my point of view, and I've shown it in delivery today. When it comes to height though, yes there is a difference in height, and that is because of the centre of gravity of the head. You cannot get away from physics, and a blade is so small, the centre of gravity is very, very close to the head, and so you're getting no assistance whatsoever in getting that golf ball to its maximum peak height. When it comes to a hybrid, the hybrid head, the centre of gravity is just lower. When it comes to a super game improvement iron or any kind of like player's distance iron, the centre of gravity is lower. So as soon as you get that centre of gravity lower in the head, that will vertically want to hit the golf ball higher through gearing. And so yes, there might be a spin difference on different irons depending on, that is a much broader conversation. But I just wanted to do this test myself because I've noticed this over the years and I haven't never quite understood what the differences are and what they aren't. And so I wanted to do the test. 123 shots later, we have found out effectively that there is no difference in sideways curvature through all the range of golf clubs, but there is a vertical difference between all the range of golf clubs. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, go on, down there is a big old thumbs up button. You can click that. YouTube likes, so do I. Down there also is a subscribe button. It's the most important button for you to hit the button because obviously more subscribers I get enables me to test more and more golf clubs. So next to it is a bell icon, has a little ding-a-ling. It will click and ding. I think, will it ding? I'm not quite sure it will ding, but it will ding when it comes to notifying you next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.